Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm the Stretch Professor, and today we're going to be looking at a Diana mid replay for coaching. So thank you very much to Dean, as always, for the generous donation. Let me preface this by saying I am not a Diana specialist. I have not played Diana in a very long time. But Dean wanted my commentary on this, so I'm going to give it to him. So I'm going to focus mostly on macro play. I am going to look a little bit at micro, but I'm not going to have expertise about, like, very specific power spikes and very specific positionings and team fights and things like that, you know, like a challenger player who one tricks Diana would know, that type of thing. But I think I can offer some very useful commentary for this. So if you're new to the channel and this is the first thing that you've seen, just understand that's the disclaimer, that I'm a support specialist. Dean knows this, and he specifically commissioned this because he wants my commentary on Diana, and he knows that I specialize in primarily macro when I look at other roles. Okay, so let's look at Diana real quick for people that are not familiar with her. You don't see her a ton. You see her every now and then. Basically, Diana's sort of trading pattern and what she wants to be doing is she's an all-in champion that relies very heavily on hitting her Q, which gives people a debuff over them for 3 seconds. Once she hits that Q, then it resets her ultimate. So her ultimate is a point-click dash ability with a pretty good range of 825. That does instant damage to the person. Now, it's not a ton of damage by itself. You know, at level 3, it's only 220. Tristana's ult, by comparison, is a point-click 300 damage ability at level 6. So Tristana's does 3 times the damage at level 6. That's a different story about part of why Tristana's overpowered. But where this really shines is if they have the Moonlight proc on them, then it resets the ultimate, so you can do it twice in a row. Okay, so that would give her a total of, you know, at level 11, for example, 320 damage with a 1.2 AP ratio. Now, that's her strength, is you land the Q, and then you basically get to get a double ult off on somebody. That does pretty good burst damage. It also draws you into close range so that you can hit them with all 3 orbs of your Pale Cascade. Give yourself a decent little shield, and then also do some decent damage there as well. Total magic damage for all of the orbs. Now, notice these numbers aren't super high in and of themselves. You know, this is like okay damage. Like, the Q is okay damage, and the orb is okay damage. But when you start adding them all together with all of their AP ratios, and they add up to be quite a bit when you hit them all. And if you hit one, you know, if you just hit the Q, really is what you have to hit. You hit the Q, the ult pulls you in close, all of the orbs are going to hit. You pull them in with your E. It gives you a lot of extra attack speed. Then you hit them 3 times with your passive, and you get this extra 0.8 ability on there. So, you know, level 11, that'd be 105 plus 0.8. You know, would give you, if you have 100 ability power, that'd give you 185. So, pretty good all-in champion. Very reliable. As long as you hit your Q, you have to hit the Q. And it's kind of a wacky skill shot that has an arc to it. But if you hit the Q, then all of your other abilities should hit. Okay, and then that's, I mean, she's basically out of gas. Like, once she does that. Once she goes in, she lands all of her abilities. You know, double procs her ult, all of that stuff. Then she's going to be out of gas for a little bit. Then she has to recharge and go back in. So, you know, she doesn't have a lot of innate. I mean, she does with this. If you land a bunch of consecutive attacks, she does do some extra damage with this. If you get a lot of attack speed, like a Gnasher's Tooth, you know, kind of thing, you're able to sit there and auto attack people. But she doesn't have gap closers once this is on cooldown. She's gonna have to wait until this is done. Now, you know, another thing that you could do if you have enough damage, you could, you know, hit them with your Q, ult in, get them with the Pale Cascade. Keep auto-attacking them until they're dead. Wait until your Q's off cooldown. Q to somebody else. Go over to them. You know, Pale Cascade. Do all your stuff and just keep attacking like that. So that will give you mobility as long as you don't have to use your second Q to finish somebody off. But a lot of times you will need that second Q in your damage rotation until you get a lot of items. So that's just kind of how she rolls. She's an all-in assassin. Very reliable once you hit your Q, but very immobile unless you save a second stack of your Lunar Rush, which a lot of times you won't have the luxury of doing if you want to finish somebody off. And she doesn't really do a lot with that. She has no gap closer without her ult, so that makes her pre-6 very, very vulnerable. She does not have good trading in lane, so she kind of follows like the Cassidon Fizz paradigm, but in some ways she's even worse. Fizz is safer because he can hop away. Fizz has a really bad laning phase too. And Kassadin has his shield and innate sort of decent trading with his Q in lane if you just spam Q on the enemy. Because he gets the shield for the trade back, and he has range. Like, where she really doesn't have range. Like, you can hit people with your Q in lane, but it's not really going to do that much. It's a pretty low damage ability, unless you're using it to proc your ult. Okay, so given that, and I know Dean sent me a detailed email about why he's going to build the way that he builds in this game. He likes to build her sort of, I don't know, fighter style is what he described. He described this Arc Second style. And I did watch a video on Arc Second. It was from 2016 by the Lolhounds. Apparently this guy was, at some point in Season 6, the #1 challenger. Season 7, he was only Masters, and right now he has, you know, like a 50% win rate in Diamond 5, which is still pretty good because a lot of the other challengers are in Diamond 5 right now. But you'll see that he doesn't even favor Diana really in this meta. He favors Fizz, who's... And that's the thing, too, is Diana isn't great with a lot of these keystones. Like, she's okay, you know, with Electrocute, but the meta has evolved so much that it makes it very difficult. And I know Dean said this in his email, too. It's like, well, if you want to play her Assassin, you might as well play, you know, Fizz or Kassadin or something like that, and I agree. I think that's why I would recommend these types of champions. Now, I do think that Fizz is a little rough, but I would say, you know, in general, if you're really wanting to climb, I would highly recommend picking up Kassadin. You can win with Diana, and I'm going to give you the best coaching I possibly can, but, you know, the honest truth is I think that Kassadin right now, until he gets a nerf, is going to be better for solo queue than she is. Or Echo might be another one to consider. Echo's a bit harder to play, but Echo has much better wave clear, and he has a bit more utility with his ult and his ability to stun lots of people. So Echo's harder to play, but Echo's another person who's very similar, who's a melee, assassin, you know, proto belt, blow him up type of champion that just has a little bit more play to him than Diana does. So any of those, Fizz, Kassadin, or Echo, I would probably recommend over Diana right now, although Diana can work. The real strength of Diana is she just completely deletes somebody with a point click. You don't have to hit anything to do it. With Fizz, you do have to hit your ult. I mean, you have to hit your Q with Diana, but that's easier to hit than Fizz's fish. So she does have that going for her. Okay, but that's the Arc Second thing. I looked at pro builds here. Not a lot of people are building, are playing Diana. You see she has a really low play rate. Skara is playing her a lot, though, and Skara is a very intelligent player. I like to watch his patch notes, so I trust Skara on these builds. You know, you aren't seeing a ton of the Nashor's Tooth type of builds. You're seeing a couple people like Shifters getting it. There's a couple people that are doing that. But in general, what makes sense to me, given the playstyle that I just talked about, is you want maximum penetration, and like you have to delete people. Proto Belt is a must, because that gives you another ratio. So you're already very close to people. You gap close right in their face, and so you should be able to hit them with all the bolts, or at least a large amount of the bolts, and you need that extra bit of burst damage. You need that extra cooldown worth of damage, because if you don't kill them with your rotation, then you're probably going to die, or you're going to get kited. And you don't want that, because she doesn't have as much mobility as someone like Fizz or Kassadin, who can kind of, if you don't all in and kill somebody, you can still probably escape and get away with like a decent little trade. With her, you're not. Like, you're all in or nothing. So I think Proto Belt is definitely a must. Almost everybody rushes Proto Belt. After that, it gets kind of iffy. Some people will get Zhonya's after that. That does work very well with the perfect timing with the pocket stopwatch. And that does buy you time to get some of your cooldowns back up, so you can get another Q back up. So, for example, if you have Zhonya's, like, you might be able to Q in, use one ult, proc all of your orbs, auto-attack 3 times, and then, like, do your thing to bust people in and slow them down, and then, you know, go ahead and Zhonya's. After that, that'll give you the extra couple of seconds post-level 9s. This does get to a pretty low cooldown. Give you a couple extra seconds, and once you get that Q, you can Crescent Strike again, ult again, and then ult a final time to finish them off. So you can get 3 ults off on the same person if you have Hourglass. So I think that's why they get Hourglass on her a lot, is after you do one rotation, only using one ult, you can auto-attack a few times, and when they're going to do one of their big abilities, you can Hourglass, buy a little bit more time to stall for your next Q to come off cooldown, then you can Q them again and get back to action. So I do think that Gnasher's Tooth like can work in there somewhere. The auto attack speed is nice, but you're going to have to be able to sit there and auto a lot, and it's going to lower your burst quite a bit to not have Haunting Guys and Void Staff, because those two do a lot of damage. Those are the two highest damage items you can get in the game for pretty much every champion. Spell Penetration is very strong. They just don't have the utility of other champions or other items like Rod of the Ages or like Morel and Omicron. They don't offer the mana primarily. But mana shouldn't be a problem for Diana because she's a burst champion, not a poke champion. So, anyways, that's what I'm seeing for most people is they really like to get the Sork Boots, Haunting Guys. Luden's Echo is another option that's in there, which once again adds another ratio, has another burst item. I don't see as many Lich Banes as I thought I would. I figured that Lich Bane would probably be pretty good. I think the reason for that is she doesn't really have a super low cooldown spammable ability for Lich Bane. I mean, the Q kind of. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I think Lich Bane is definitely viable in there as well. I'm just not sure when you would go Lich Bane over other things. But it seems like Protobelt Zhonya's with the 600 reduced cost because of the stopwatch seems like your best bargain. That'll let you hit your power spike faster than a lot of other mages because Protobelt's only 2,500 gold. So that's really nice. You might actually be able to finish that somewhere around level 6 or 7 once you're all farmed up. And that's really when Diana's very strong. Like, once she hits 6, you want to have that damage. You want to go in and bust them up. So that's really nice. And then the Zhonya's with the 600 reduced cost because of Pocket Watch, I believe, is about 2,000 gold. So that'll let you get to your 2 items really quickly, whereas other people are going to be, trying to get Rod of the Ages, which I think is 2,750, or Morellonomicon, which is 2,900. So I think you'll be a little bit faster with that. Haunting Guys is very fast, too. It's only 1,500 gold to get that. Might be 1,600, 15 or 1,600, and then Sork Boots is really nice, too. So I think the core items that you're going to want to get are Protobelt, Sork Boot, Haunting Guys, and Zhonya's. The order depends. I would probably favor getting Sork, Haunting, Proto. And if you look at this game where Scar did very well, he was against an Orianna that's a very tough lane too. In this one, you'll see that he actually rushed Luden's, which is interesting, and then he went Proto Zhonya's. So I'm not sure about that. That would let you roam a bit faster because you do have the 10% move speed. What's another one? This one he went 14-7. He's against Annie this time. He does like to rush that Luden's, it looks like. Which seems a little bizarre to me, but yeah, he rushed Luden's into Haunting into Void Staff. So that is pretty heavy damage. So he's not even getting the Protobelt this time. I was curious. I would like to do the math and see how that pans out, but that seems to be what he got Protobelt in this one. Maybe because he figured he didn't need the health off of Protobelt. Maybe that's what it is. He's just confident enough that he can just one-shot the person. This time he's against Katarina, so maybe he's a little more reluctant. He knows that Kat could potentially kill him. I'm not really sure what the thought process is there. But those are kind of your core items that you'll probably want to get. I really don't like Rod of the Ages. You don't want to spend the time to stack this up because you need to snowball really hard as Diana. You don't have the inevitability of someone like a Cassidon to be able to sit, or like a Cassiopeia to sit there and let this charge up. Like, you need to take over the game early or you're just going to get outscaled later on. People are, like, there's a lot of counterplay, especially with a lot of the tank shield supports. It's just going to be really hard to kill somebody. When you've got someone like a Tarek that's sitting there that's going to be able to shield, shield, Locket, ult, Knight's Vow. You're going to have to cut through all of that. Or Janna. You need to take over the game early and just keep snowballing. I think that her biggest power spike is between like 6 and 11. You really need to roam around and make some kills because you have a very low cooldown ult. I mean, that is something that's really in her favor compared to some other assassins like Fizz, is that she has a much lower cooldown on her ult. So Fizz has a pretty low cooldown on his ult. Cassidon does as well. But that is one thing, is you can consistently run around and your ult's almost always going to be up. You're going to be able to apply a lot of pressure to people around the map if you're roaming properly. as Diana. So I think that's definitely one strength, is that she can, you know, really take off and roam. I would definitely take Teleport. I didn't see what you ended up taking in this game. But that's going to let you, once again, roam around the map. Now, Diana doesn't have great wave clear, which is a problem. You know, Fizz doesn't either. Kassadin doesn't either. Echo actually has pretty decent wave clear for a melee assassin type of champion. But if you don't have wave clear, it makes it much more difficult to roam. But Teleport will let you get back to lane and not miss too much if you decide to roam. So, as far as runes, this is pretty standard. Almost everybody goes for Electrocute, Sudden Impact, Ravenous Hunter. You need the extra ratio off of Electrocute. You have to have that damage, once again, for the all-in. Sudden Impact is very good because it gives you spell penetration, which is extremely powerful. And it does give you lethality, too, which does apply to those auto attacks. So, Sudden Impact, very good. Ravenous Hunter is the other standard one. You're going to need that extra healing, you know, when you're doing a lot of damage with your abilities on a single target, so that you can actually survive and move on to the next target in a team fight. This one is kind of a strategy professor special, especially in low elo. I think Dean said that he is unranked, or he hasn't played ranked. This is his first. I think he came in near the end of Season 7, and he's just trying to learn sort of different champions to see what he wants. This is a low elo special. You need vision in lower elo because you can't count on your support to give you vision. You can't count on a lot of people to give you vision, or your jungler. And you're probably not going to have enough sort of game sense at that point while you're still learning the game to understand where the jungler is or when teams are rotating and things like that without having proper vision. And so I think you should go for a vision option in the third tree here. I recommend Zombie Ward as of 8.1 because then when your wards die while you're trying to protect middle, then you get that 3-minute ward. Now in 8.2, I'm not sure because that ward is only going to last for an extra minute. So I think I might recommend for mid laners Ghost Poro. Because then you can always have one of your side lane bushes warded with the Ghost Poro, and you can have the other one warded either with your standard ward or a control ward. And you need to have vision of those side bushes as Diana. And a lot of people, especially in Bronze and Silver, they aren't going to wrap around. They're just going to walk through the river bush. So if we look at... Sorry, we'll get into the game here in a second. There's just a lot of preamble here that I want to cover. Just because I just, you know, Dean was asking a lot of questions in terms of, like, builds and stuff like that. Oh, it's not going to let me magnifying glass this. Anyways, a lot of people will come in through, just straight through the river like that. And so having wards in these bushes is good. Now, at higher elo, at Challenger elo, they're going to know this is probably warded, most likely. And so they're going to slip around, potentially, and come through the back. Especially here. This is the most common place where higher elo people will go. Because it's away from the support. You can assume this river is going to be warded a lot. Because the support's going to be warding this river too if they're doing their job correctly. So a lot of higher elo people are going to come through the topside river. And they're going to wrap around this way to try to avoid this ward. So they're going to like come up like over here, wrap, and come at you that way for ganks. Okay, so you need to be aware of that. But, you know, with Ghost Poro, you can put like a Ghost Poro right here. Or you could even put the Ghost Poro right here if you wanted to. And then you can use a control ward here and just like a normal ward like over here. So it just gives you a lot more vision. You need something with vision, either Zombie Ward or Ghost Poro to help protect you in the middle. You can go Eyeball Collection, but it's pretty snowbally, and I think Diana's worst time is like early in the game, pre-6, and I would just want more protection there. It depends on if they have a ganking jungler or not. I mean, if they have like a Shyvana or something like that that's probably not going to gank a lot pre-6, then maybe you can get away with going Eyeball Collection, but I would probably still go something with vision on it. And then I would take Perfect Timing and Magical Footwear. This is just such a good bargain if you're someone who's gonna buy an Hourglass or a GA, you know, within your first 3 items. 600 gold off, which is huge. And of course you can use it one-time use, sort of a get out of jail free card from a lot of sketchy situations. That is pretty high skill cap to use that correctly, but it does give you a big discount on a core item of Diana, so I think that's really strong. The Magical Footwear is just a fantastic bargain. I mean, it's like 400 gold bargain. fairly early in the game. So both of these are just a great bargain. I know you had mentioned perhaps taking something like Second Wind and Mirror Shield. You can do that. It does help you out through your laning phase, so if you're going to get harassed a lot, that's definitely a possibility. But you're giving up a lot of value off of these two. These two are very, very valuable. So a good build order, I would say probably Proto Belt, Sork Boot, Haunting Guys, Void Staff, Lichbane. But it just depends on how the game is going. I think you definitely want this trio of items somewhere in there, the penetration items, and then one kind of utility item. I like Proto Belt here. Ludens is more expensive, but it does have more AP on it. It has less health. So Ludens is probably better damage overall. It's just going to be a bit more expensive. So just kind of see how you're farming, see how it's going. If you're snowballing really hard, maybe you could go for Ludens. If you need to be a little bit more defensive, if you need that extra health, then Proto Belt might be a better option. You want to max your Q. You want to get that cooldown as low as possible so that you can get more ult resets. Then you want your E for more damage. Then your W is just kind of your last thing that you put in there. Okay, let's go ahead and get in here. So if you're watching this, you haven't watched a lot of my other coaching videos, I take physical notes as I watch, and then at the very end, I bring it all together in the post-game, describe the top 5 to 10 things that I think Dean could do to level up, or to play a little bit better, level up his game, I guess. And you can always access this Google Doc if you want to read and follow along in the description, and I'll have some timestamps as well. If you just want to, for some reason, jump to the post-game, then we'll have that available as well. Okay. So like I said, pretty long preamble, but I wanted to answer some of those questions that Dean was asking in his email. He left me a little mini novel of sorts, asking some questions. Not really, but he, was asking me about kind of that fighter build and what do I think about Diana and such, and I did some research on it, and those are my conclusions. That I don't particularly think that Rod of the Ages is that great. I think Nashor's is like okay, but at her core, I think she is a burst champion that has really low cooldown on her ult and her all-in rotation, so she has the potential to make a lot of plays. And you might say, well, that's very similar to Kassadin or other people, and to that I would answer, yes, it is. And I think they're better at it most of the time, but you can definitely win with Diana. I think she does more on less items on a full rotation, so I think she can start really taking over the game faster than Kassadin can. I think that Kassadin needs to complete Rod and Lichbane, and I think that before he can really start doing some serious damage, and I think that Diana off of a single item can do a lot more. If you go single item Ludens or Proto Belt, or even just Haunting Guys, Sork Boots, I think that you can take over the game a bit faster, but your power window to take over the game is a lot more slender than Kassadin. You can take it over later. It's harder to outplay the supports if it's a decent support that has CC or shielding or both. That can be problematic. It's very common. I always kind of joke on my stream that Diana, like a common score for Diana is 10, 10, and 10 kind of thing. They take a lot of risks. They do get kills, but they die a ton. Because she's inherently very unsafe compared to the other assassins. Okay, the Zoe's pretty much giving you the lane, so that's good. Yeah, don't let her... try not to stand too close to the minions when she starts doing her Q. Make her choose whether she wants to try to hit you or the minions. Like, she shouldn't be able to do both. Careful, you're taking aggro from the minions right there. Okay. Okay, so you took Aerie. I really don't like Aerie and the Sorcery Tree. The Sorcery Tree has been nerfed a lot. It's just not enough damage. Like, Aerie is really for poke lanes early. You can have some poke if you land your Q consistently, but you're giving up a lot of your mid to late game power spike. It does make you a bit better in the early game, for sure, but I don't know. And then, like, you don't need Mana Flow Band. It is nice, but mana isn't typically a problem with Diana. I don't think. Her spells are pretty cheap. Be aware that Zoe has heal too when you try to all in. So don't let that sneak up on you. It's kind of weird. Yeah, obviously, try to work on the CS a little bit. It just comes to practice on champions. I'm not going to comment too much on that, but, you know, you should try to, you know, if you're bronze or silver level of play, you need to be trying to get at least, I'd say 50 or 60 CS by 10, I think is a fair number. I think bronze 50, maybe silver 60. So yeah, you just got to get these timings right on these last hits. I would say, you know, one thing that I recommend, I know it's kind of boring, but if you just go in just every day and just for like 5 minutes, just put on some music and just chill. It's just kind of a warm-up and just go in and just practice last hitting in the practice tool. That'll help out a ton. But yeah, without Electrocute, you're going to have a lot less damage and you're all in. And without... Sudden Impact is massive. I mean, getting 10 Lethality and 8 Magic Pen is just like a phenomenal bargain. It's a really, really good deal. And you're getting like Mana Flow Band and Celerity instead of that. I really don't like Sorcery on Diana. Maybe like pre-Aerie nerf, but after they've nerfed Aerie, I don't see it. I mean, I know you explained that you want to shore up your early game, but I think that if you just... That's just not who Diana is. She's just not going to have a strong early game. You know, it's trying to turn her into someone that she's not, and you're giving up too much of her late game potential. She's just not really a poke champion at her core. I don't even like Aerie on most mid laners right now. I think it's either like Comet or Unsealed Spellbook. Or Electrocute. Electrocute is very good on things like Katarina, LeBlanc. Okay, good. What'd you get? Blasting Wand. Yeah, that's an okay buy. Now, look at what she got. You always want to look at what your enemy's getting. So, I assume that she's probably going to go Lichbane with that build. I'm not really sure what else that would be. But keep an eye on that. I guess it could be Rod of the Ages. If you want to go Rod, I'm not sure what you're going to build here. But I know you had expressed an interest in Rod or Nashor's. I'm not sure if this builds... I don't think that Nashor's builds into this. If you wanted to go Rod, maybe you didn't have enough gold for it, but I might go Catalyst. I don't know. I guess Blasting Wand's okay, because you do want the damage at 6 to kill. Okay, there you go. Good. Yeah. Hit. Fade towards Zen. Fade towards Zen. You could have pinged Zen down and rotated over here, and they would have probably followed you. I think you could have baited him. Because Zen was right here doing Scuttle. If you just pinged help a lot and then ran through this bush, and just, like, warded behind you as you ran, I think that you could have baited him. As a mid laner, you always want to know where your jungler is, and you want to try to play on that side of the lane. Especially lower elo. People just will not see this coming. So if you just, like, run into that bush, they'll chase you. They won't even think twice about Zen potentially being there. To just fade to whichever side you think he's on. Wrap around. Wrap around. Oh, y'all are running straight at him. Yeah. Well, what? See, look at that. They weren't even thinking that it's a possibility you could roam there. Yeah, just kill her. Kill her. Kill Zoe. Kill Zoe. They just ran straight at you when they saw Zen. Just go back middle. Just go back middle. You're kind of out of mana here. I probably would have actually just backed when you were bottom because you're out of mana and just go buy something. I mean, you can get one wave, but the problem is she's going to be here. I guess you get to catch this wave. Okay. Okay, that's a good freeze. You don't have TP yet, again. You want to back up a bit more, because now she sees you backing. So, if she's clever, she's going to push this into your tower. Which it looks like she's doing. That's just kind of the natural reaction that people do, too, is they just push. Well, now she's not. Good, you're at 47. What'd you get? That just feels like a really bad buy to me. It's slowing down your damage so much to get this catalyst. I just feel like you need to start taking over the game, like, in the mid-game, really hard when you're Diana. I would much rather see a Haunting Guys, Sork Boots. Especially against the Zoe, like, she's already demonstrated that she likes to kind of walk out of position and play very aggressively. She's going a really, like, weak build early on. I mean, she's going Morello, which is fine, but it's a very low damage build with no defense in it. So she's not going Rod. So she should be pretty easy to destroy. Sorry about that. Alarm is randomly going off. Oh, careful here, don't get baited. Wait, how did he die? Teemo Shroom? Wait, where are you running? What did I miss? Oh, Teemo's there. Okay. Just push it in. Yeah, especially against the Zoe, who's like really squishy, a very vulnerable champion who herself is not very mobile. Like, she can do her little trickster, but you know whenever she's doing that, or whatever it's called, her R, but you know whenever she does that, she's going to go right back to her same point. What are you at? 60 at... So you probably had like somewhere between 50 to 60 at 10 minutes. That's fine. That's about, like I was saying, that's about what I would consider like pretty good. Bronze or silver. Yeah. I just don't like it. I just don't think you need this. Like, she's not threatening your health that much. Diana has an innate shield that scales off of AP, so the more AP you get, the bigger that shield's going to be with your W. And Zoe's just not really hitting you with that much firepower right now. I just want to see you just massacre her. Just one-shot city. See, if you had enough damage there, like, if you had a Haunting Guys instead of that stuff, then Zen probably wouldn't have died. Because you would have killed her so fast that... Like, if you had, like, Sork Boots Haunting Guys... Now, obviously, that's more gold than these items, but... Like, Catalyst is 1,200, I think. Blasting One's 850. So, for 2,000 gold, you could buy Haunting Guys and Boots. Or Sork Boots and components for Haunting Guys. You'd have an Amp Tome as well. I just feel like you're letting her off easy. Yeah, you need more vision coverage. On your next back, I want you to buy a Control Ward. Kindred's not the most brutal ganker, but she could come at you at some point. You could have potentially TP'd bottom in that. Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. They don't have a forward... They did have a ward there, actually. Let me go back and look at that. And see if that was a chance to TP bottom. So it looked like... Anytime you see a bunch of people fighting bottom out of the corner of your eye, just take a look down there and just see, like, what's going on. Yeah, you could have TP'd right there. Like, right here where you're already naturally backing up, you could have TP'd right there and probably picked up a double kill on him. He's so low. She's low. They did get one of them, but I would have done that. So, like, right when you push her in, like, just kind of keep an eye bottom, especially when you push them in and you're not doing anything anymore. Like, after you push this, just kind of look at both sides and say, okay, Teemo's available if I TP behind him. I could maybe TP down here, like, while you're clearing this. And then watch this fight and say, boom, TP right now. And then I think you have them once they commit. She can't stop you. She's pushed in. She doesn't push the wave very quickly. I think that would have been a great spot to TP bottom. I agree with not wasting it top on Teemo. He's probably going to run away. And, like, one kill for your TP top lane is probably not worth it. But if you get that kill bottom, if you get that double kill bottom, you can push in and probably get this tower. It's at half health. And you could just race them. I think the three of you take that tower before Zoe takes this tower. And you could even call in Zen to come and hold this for you if you want. And then you guys could, like, go get Dragon pretty soon thereafter. And it was a pretty big missed opportunity. Risky. If you saw Kindred down there, then I like that. If you're not really sure, if you weren't paying attention, you just did it just because, I don't like it. But if you, like, consciously saw Kindred bottom and you thought, okay, I can do this, then it's good. But under most circumstances, if you don't know where the jungler is, don't dive between towers like that. But that was good. Okay, got that rod online. Wait, what? What is this? You going Merc Treads? Nah. Yeah, I really don't like TPing down here. I would rather use that TP around the map. You know that bot lane's really aggressive. Like, you could have even TP'd... I don't know, I guess there's... I don't know if you can TP onto that or not, honestly. Alright, watch out, they're coming for you. They're about to rotate on you, you gotta back up. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Probably too late. Yeah, you gotta watch that mini. Yeah, you always gotta be a little paranoid as Diana because you don't have escapes. So you just constantly have to be watching that mini-map. But what I was saying is, you know bot likes to fight. They've been fighting a lot, so I would just save that TP. You know they're willing to overextend. They were way up here without even thinking about a TP from you. So I don't mind early in the game using a TP to get back to lane because the experience is so important and you want to make sure you hit 6 first. But now, you know, like, the wave wasn't even pushing. Like, she wasn't in lane to push it. You know, you might miss a couple of CS, but she's also missing it. And I would rather just have more macro pressure. So I wouldn't use the TP just to go back to lane at that point. I think you're being too defensive with Mercury Treads here. I really would rather you go Sorcery. You gotta kill him as Diana. You gotta burst him. You don't have other utility. It's straight up, you go in, you kill, that's it. If you can't do that, then it's just not really a point playing Diana. Like, eventually you might get to the point where with Rod and Merc, yes, you can still one-shot people, but it's going to take you an extra item to do it, probably. You're going to have 4 items instead of 3. And that's going to be a lot more time. Okay, Zoe's bottom. Just push. Yeah, just get tower. Yeah, just ping them back bottom. And just keep pushing. Ping them. Okay, they're paying attention. Keep going. Now, they, of course, want to fight it. Now, if you had teleport, you could come down here on this right now. Probably get a double, maybe a triple kill on him. But you use your teleport mid lane, so we don't have it. So there's 2 potential opportunities to go bottom. On that ward. Kindred can't stop your teleport, and you can always just sort of walk behind one of these walls. I would have probably just backed there. Just bought something. We get an amp tome. Can't see how much gold you have right now. But you did just get solo tower gold. I mean, first tower solo gold. I think it's like 600 or 650 gold. It's enough for an amp tome. I probably would just back for that amp tome. Yeah. Go for it. Go for it. You might get a flash out of her. No. Okay, you missed it. Back up. Don't push this wave. Just last hit right here. Okay. That's fine. I would back. You're kind of just running around. Like, by the time you walk back up here, you could have backed and walked back. And it would have only been like maybe 5 seconds slower. Like, maybe you're waiting for like a bigger item or something, but... Y'all need to be thinking about Dragon right now. Let me write some stuff down real quick. Okay, so get more damage to punish early. Use TP bot lane more. You need to have control wards. You still have... Okay, you did get a couple. Yeah, I know you might be thinking something like, wow, you know, I have Rod and I have Mercury Tread, so now I can survive Zoe, but you don't need to be thinking survival as much as Diana. You need to be thinking, like, murder and snowball. Because you also would have killed her right there if you had more damage. Like, if you had the double penetration, she's dead. Nah, she's kiting you too much. You're going to die there, probably. Yeah. And you don't have the damage to kill her. She's easily dead. If you have Sork Boots, plus, I mean, you will be alarmed at how much more damage you do if you get Sork Boots and Haunting Guys here. Even Sork Boots probably would have killed her. Like, magic penetration is insanely powerful. That's why, like, most of the only viable supports bottom, I would say, are people who use penetration very, very well. Either through pets or percentage damage. That's Brand and Zyra, mostly. Yeah, I have a whole video on... Just check out my mid lane video. I might do another mid lane tier list here soon, but check out my, on the channel, the main sort of mid tier list video that I've done in the past. It has, it talks about itemization, which is pretty much the same thing. I don't think they've changed mid lane items in a while, significantly. So the math is the same, even though the runes, also Electrocute would have killed him, and Sudden Impact. There's a lot of those damage runes that you're missing that would have probably killed him. Killed her, rather. Alright, you've got your TP. Keep an eye bottom. Okay. Good follow. Watch out for that. Don't... You just saw him drop that there. Yeah, you don't have any... So we don't know where... now, this might be your control ward. I'm not sure. But this is where, like, the Poro would come in to help. If you had Poro there, you could have dropped a Poro here. Or, just using more of your yellow wards. With Zombie. I don't like Blue Trinket. You keep the yellow wards. You need them, especially if you're going to zombie. Those basically turn into 4-minute wards. At least pre-8.2. But y'all have no vision on the map. I mean, the support is just not warding anywhere, so... This is why I say that in the domination tree, you need to have one of the vision things. that's not giving you damage either. It's only 10% attack. Like, that's very slow damage over time when you have to land a lot of auto attacks for that. Teemo's going to shut off your autos with his blind. Like, Kindred's going to have more time to land her ult. Or to, like, press her ult button. Whereas sometimes if you blow someone up fast enough, Kindred won't even ult fast enough. Like, if you have full penetration, if you have, like, Sork Boots, Leandri's Void Staff, you just evaporate somebody, Kindred won't even have time to ult. She'll ult and it'll be too late. Person will already be dead. Braum's going to lock you up and CC you. Like, you're just not going to have time to... Tristana's going to jump away. Like, all of these people have counterplay to you sitting there and auto-attacking. And you're just not going to keep up with just trying to auto-attack through a Kindred or a Tristana. I really don't like this, you know, stand there and try to auto for damage type of stuff on a melee champion. I just don't think that's a good combination typically. With some exceptions. There are some, you know, like Master Yi I think works, but very few melee champions that I would like to sit there and auto-attack with. Okay, I like the TP. It's okay. Good. Okay, push, 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 push. Push this. Okay, that was good. Almost would have rather you TP over here so they don't see it. They just weren't paying attention. But in theory, if you TP over here, you'd have a better flank. And they're less likely to notice if you TP up here. It just takes you an extra, like, maybe 2 seconds to walk to the fight. Like, right here, if they were paying attention, they should have just turned around and, like, run away. Because they can see the TP from a bush. Okay, back up, back up, back up. Go, yeah, go push middle. Good, that was your shot call. Just let Jhin die. He's dead. Push. You got maybe like 4 or 5 autos on this. You go a lot faster if you had a Lich Bane. Although I'm not entirely convinced that Lich Bane is maybe like a 3rd or a 4th item, maybe. Diana. I mean, the 20% CD. I mean, like Nashor's Tooth is a great value item. I just don't like it on melee champions. I mean, it's very, very good on Azir, but he has very special scaling with his autos. Like, he has special on-hit interactions with his autos, with his soldiers, so it's really good on Azir. I mean, there's a reason that you don't see, like, Nashors on similar champions. Like, you don't see Nashors on Fizz, you don't see Nashors on Kassadin or Echo. All of these guys have on-hit interactions that are really powerful. So in theory, they would want attack speed, potentially, but you don't see it on them. And the reason is you have to have burst as melee, because otherwise you're just going to get kited. Kited or CC'd or, you know, any number of other things. So that's why they almost always go Lich Bane instead. You probably got blinded there. Like, blind stops the damage from your auto attacks, but it doesn't stop the damage from your ult, your Q, or your W. No, 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 no. Cloth armor. Now you're gonna go Zhonya's. That's like one of the lowest damage like Diana builds you can possibly draw up. It's like legit. This is way, way too much defense. I don't know what you should play if you want this much defense. I mean, I don't know, but that's just not. It's not Diana. You gotta be a little riskier in a sense. I mean, look at it this way though. Like you have all these defensive items at the cost of not having damage, but it's not saving your life. You're still dying, right? Like you've got Merc Treads instead of Sork Treads, still dying. You're gonna have these cloth armors, but you're still gonna die, probably. That doesn't solve Diana's core issue, which is getting kited. The way that you get around getting kited is you kill them. Okay. You did outduel her there. I'll give you that. So the cloth armors did help you out there. But I still think that the burst is probably going to be better. I still think you would have outdueled her if you had massive burst also, to be fair. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No, they're like, hold on. They're all going to be there, right? It's their base. They're going to be in their base, right? So, you got to look at the map here. This is a 3v5. It's a 3v3 right now, and they're about to spawn. You got to tab and look at death timers. They're just about to spawn. You need to be pinging your team. Even getting this tower is pretty risky, honestly. The only reason it's working right now is because they have to clean up these supers down here. Tristana had to sit down here and clean these supers, if you look. So that's why it's working, is because they can't come up there right now. But once they clean the super wave, you don't have another wave for a little bit, so it's going to be a 5-on-3. You need to see, okay, Zen's top, Gnosis is top. Should they be up there? No, they should be pushing with you, but they are. So you just got to take note of that. So yeah, you need to you need to run. Yeah, so you gotta tab because this is a big oops. This is a very big oops because they're gonna kill at least 2 of you, and they could potentially go for Baron right now. They do have a very fast Baron team with Kindred plus Tristana and Teemo. Is that like on hit Teemo? No, but he still does a lot with Nashers. They could have done it. I think they could have Baroned. Maybe they're a little scared of a Zen steal, but I would have run for it. I would have just Baron, said whatever, like, if the inhibitor dies. I think they probably could have, anyways, they didn't, so it's good for you. So yeah, just push them in. You don't have the inhibitor down anymore. So I'm just writing down check mini before you engage. Check your mini map. So use tab to watch death timers. Whoa, hold on, where are you? Oh, you're down here, okay. Yeah, don't go walking through here. you've got 2 people top. There's no reason to chase them here. Like, you're not fighting for any objectives. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to fight. You've got... Okay, so once again... Let's back up. You guys just got the dragon, right? Or they got it? Was there even a dragon? Okay, there wasn't even a dragon. Sorry, I was writing something else down while I was rolling there. Okay. So now you need to be setting up around Baron. To bait Baron. There's no reason to go bottom. Like, I guess maybe you want to try to kill the Teemo. Is that what it is? Oops. My bad. Speed this up. No. You have 2 people top. Okay, so pause. Before you start this fight, you need to look top once again. See what's going on. You have 2 of your people up top, including your most fed person, Xin Zhao, up top, fighting Zoe. So that means that down here, it's going to be, eventually, it's going to be a 4v3. Okay, you're going to have 3, they're going to have 4, because no one else is on the map here with Zoe. So they're just going to run over here, most likely. They're going to be in this area. If they're not top, then they're going to be over here. So you need to keep that in mind. If you don't see them, they're going to be there, probably. So that's why this is a bad fight. Like, yeah, you don't see the other 2 people, but where are they going to be, you know? And they all show up here, so... And that's why they clean you guys up. Now, Zen did show up eventually here. Zen fortunately rotated down. Nasus is still, like, AFK pushing, I guess. I don't know. Just let Nasus go mark the Teemo. Now, y'all need to back up. What are you getting now? You need to ping him back. He's about to fight like a 1v4. Alright, well. Yeah. Zen's just really strong right now. And they're just playing against him really poorly. I would back up. If either one of these people were over here with you, then you could go bottom, but... You need a control ward down somewhere. I don't know if this is yours or not, but... You need vision around Baron. You need to bait Baron. Let's go ahead and grab Dragon. You need to tell your team to, like, go do Baron. Because right now, people are just running around randomly. You got to give them some direction. You got to give them something to do. Alright. Oh, killer. Don't chase too far. Don't chase too far. They could all be in there. Zoe's top, but you could find 3 people in here. Yeah, they're there. No, 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 no. Ping him back. You guys do have a 5v3, but they're really spread out and you don't have vision. I guess. Zoe's probably rolling up. I would much rather see you guys... Okay, after you run them in here, go do Baron. Like, after you push this in. Well, actually, this is open. There's not a tower there. Okay, yeah. Just get this. I forgot there wasn't a tower there from earlier. You do have pressure middle. So, yeah, y'all need to get this. Ping this, ping this. Alright, back up. Back up. They're about... Okay, definitely back up once Nasus TPs. You guys could have maybe forced this, but now without Nasus, you have to leave. You gotta leave. They saw him leave too. Like, they saw him channel his TP. Zen doesn't have mana. Yeah, you guys gotta reset, I think. Reset and go set up for Baron. I would go buy. You've got to have gold, right? Wait, why do you have another Null Magic Mantle? I want some beef here, D-Rabbit. I want some Amp Tomes. Or like needlessly large rods. No. Oh god. This is probably going to be Baron. I mean, if they kill Zen, Zen might be a 1v3. No, they have too much CC on him. Don't go into that. You don't have... It's like no damage. I guess Jhin arrived like the cavalry's here. Yeah, y'all can probably push this in. Now, Jhin does have a lot of damage. He's got the Essence plus the Infinity Edge against a bunch of squishies. That's a lot. He's gonna be one-shotting those kids. Alright. Yeah, just end it. I think y'all got it. What were you gonna buy with that? Null Magic. I'm just curious. Okay. The world may never know. Alright. So let's see. Biggest stuff here. Yeah, you need to get damage. I don't really know which item. Like I feel like Haunting Guy's Sork Boots is probably the most reliable, like huge damage spike early in the game. But you need to get something. Probably Haunting Guy's Sork Boots. You know, if you're really far ahead, if you have a couple of kills, you might be able to go Luden's. Proto Belt does give you a bit more health for trading. It does give you an extra ratio when you go in for a little bit more burst damage. But I still think that Sork Haunting is probably going to be your biggest power spike. So use your TP more often to side lanes. Bot lane was looking really good several times this game. There were a couple times I pointed out where you could have TP'd bottom instead of TPing back to lane. TPing back to lane early is important because the amount of experience needed to level up is so much lower than in the mid to the late game. So if you miss one wave, it could be a really big deal in terms of like who's going to hit level 6 first, and that can completely change the dynamic of the lane. So I don't mind using your first TP to lane. Often you'll have to as Diana because you'll have a rough laning phase. But past that, if you see an opportunity to go bot lane, or top lane sometimes, but especially bot lane is really rewarding. If you can find a chance to push in and TP down there, which is not often, a lot of times as Diana, because you don't push very well. But there was that one time against Zoe where you had her pushed completely in, and they were very far up the lane fighting your lane. If you TP down there, you probably force 2 kills, and you get the tower, and you get the dragon. It's a huge bonus, and that's so much better than just getting, 1 wave of minions. Now, you can TP top lane sometimes, but the problem is the rewards top aren't as lucrative, right? You might get 1 kill. You probably won't get the tower. You probably won't get Rift Herald. Rift Herald's not even available pre 10 minutes. So TPing bot lane is almost always the winning choice. Especially if you have the kill threat, which you do with Leona Jhin, and if they're really pushed up in a lane, which they are, especially with Braum, who has no escapes. Now, Tristana does have escapes, but she was so far up, I think that you could have at least forced her flash and killed Braum, and then forced her out of lane and taken the tower. I think that was definitely a missed opportunity there. But that's something to look for more often, is to say, okay, my lane's pushed in, where can I go? Like, can I TP somewhere? Can I get some deep vision in their jungle? Like, what can I do? You always want to be as proactive as possible and just think, what can I be doing right now? So you have them pushed in instead of just standing there in lane chilling or backing, unless you have a really important item you need to get, then just think, okay, can I TP to a lane? Can I rotate? Can I invade with my jungler? Can I get deeper vision? Like, what can I do? Just try to look for that a bit more. Okay. So Diana is very susceptible to ganks. You only died to a gank once, but to be fair, they only tried to really gank you like once or twice. Like, they just were not focusing on your lane. And Kindred doesn't have the most brutal ganks in the world. But if you're against something like an Elise or a Lee Sin or a Jarvan or just something else that really wants to gank early, Shaco's becoming very popular, you have to have wards. So I think either using the Poro or zombie wards to be helpful. Always keep the yellow wards. Just don't worry about the blue trinket. That's really something for like ADCs to get later in the game. If you're having trouble like checking Baron is the main reason for blue wards. You really want to have the yellow wards for the vision, especially if you zombie them. So yeah, just doing that and getting more control wards and putting them in your river bushes to watch out for ganks, and just knowing where your jungler is and playing on that side of the map. So I explained before, you could have baited them into fighting you and Xin Zhao if you ran, instead of just running straight back to your tower, if you ran through the side bush into the river when Kindred ganked you. So you always want to run towards your jungler if you can help it. So like, for example, if Kindred comes running out of this bush, you see Xin Zhao over here, ping help and run into this bush and see if you can bait him to go fight around there, especially if it's going to be a winning fight. Zoe was at like half health, I think, so you guys definitely would have killed him if you did that. So that's just a good habit to get into, is just play on the side of the map where the jungler is, like lean on that side of the lane. So like, for example, if your jungler's top side, just kind of like play over in this area instead of like right in the middle of the lane, or even on this side, like play on this side, and that way if you have to run, if they like wrap around and try to gank you this way, you run this way. It's really for higher elos and pro play where, like I said, people wrap around these corners to get you. Then that's why you want to play on one side of the map. But it's good to get into that habit of just noticing where your jungler is and then being ready to run in that direction if they come at you from a weird angle. Alright. What else do we have here? So check your mini-map before you engage. This is not just with Diana, this is with pretty much any champion that's an engaged champion, is you need to understand the situation before you go in. Like, in the time that I'm talking about where you tried to go in near their inhibitor, you need to understand that Nasus and Zen are top, just messing around. Like, should they have been with your team? Yes. Were they? No. So you couldn't engage there. And you need to tab, and that's another thing that's kind of related to this one. So you need to look at that and just make sure that you have 5 people there and that it's going to be a winning fight. Also, look at the death timers and items. See that, you know, they're going to spawn very soon. If that's true, then you need to run away. Especially just in general, after you get the inhibitor, just leave, because you're not going to get anything else in their base most of the time. until the supers get there, and you're going to have to wait too long on those supers. It's going to take like a minute for them to get there, so in general, like after you take the inhibitor, just leave and go do something else on the map is a good rule of thumb. But aside from that, just make sure that you're watching and making, like, double checking to ensure that it's going to be a good fight if you're going to opt into it. I think that's about it in general. Overall, pretty good play. I think your CS was good for bronze and silver especially. Your macro calls were pretty good. You had a couple of goofs there with that engage middle and like missing some opportunities with the TP. But I think in general, like, you didn't overstay a lot. You were trying to rotate and make plays around the map at various times. I think you played the Zoe matchup pretty well. So overall, pretty good. I think just the biggest thing is just look for TPs in those side lanes if you can. The biggest thing, though, is just you have to get damage. Like, you have to get damage on Diana. That's way too many utility items. Like, Rod, Nashers, Zonias is just not enough damage. It's just not. And this video, I'm going to go ahead and put this in here for you. Like I said, I made this a while ago, but I'm pretty sure they haven't really significantly adjusted the stats on mid lane items since I did this, so let me just grab this for you here real quickly. Yes. It wasn't even that long ago, I think. This has the itemization, right? Yeah. So I'll walk through this and explain it a little bit. There's an older video that I think I link or talk about in this video where I explain these in more depth. But you can kind of just see the math on something like a Leandri's. I sort of walk you through some of the math there and Void Staff. And those are just huge items for most champions. Like, spell penetration is extremely powerful and extremely cost-efficient stat. So you want to try to get Leandri's and Sork boots as much as you can. So I'll go ahead and link that, and you can check out just how I break down and analyze different items. And that's, I guess that, certain champions do favor certain items over others, but in general, the penetration items are very, very powerful. So just be sure to check that out. And I think I talk about an older video where I go more in depth in itemization. And I'm going to talk more about itemization 8.2 as well, but I just want to go ahead and link this for you in the meantime. Just for you to look at. And I know you were talking about the fighter build and really excited about it. I mean, if you win a lot with it, then just go for it. But like I said, not even the man himself that you mentioned, Arc Second, who was the #1 Diana in NA, he doesn't even do that. He doesn't really play Diana anymore. But even when he did back here, I can't go back and see his build, but I think he's kind of moved away. Like, the video that I saw that was analyzing when he was #1 was from, like, 2016, and that's pretty old. Like, the runes have changed, the items have changed, a lot of stuff has changed since then. So I think that, pro builds is a pretty good indicator of what a lot of the top-level players are doing. You can also look at something like Champion.gg and just sort of see, like, what's really popular. Yeah, now they aren't getting Haunting Guys. I really, really think you should get Haunting Guys. Scara gets Haunting Guys. A lot of these people are getting Haunting Guys. But anyways, that's going to be it. Hopefully this helps you out. Thank you very much, Dean. As I said, if someone else would like a coaching session, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. We can set that up, make a video just like this for you. We'll put it on YouTube. If you would like a private video, I can do that as well. I'll just send you, it'll be a YouTube video, but it'll be unlisted so other people won't be able to access it. But I think it is nice to make it accessible for everybody because a lot of people really do enjoy watching this stuff and learning off of it. So you're really helping out the community as well as getting some help for yourself as well. So if you want to see other coaching sessions, check this out. I have a coaching playlist here for you. If you want to see in-depth champion guides for supports, I'm going to be adding some. I've got a Vi one coming up, and a Azir, and a Kassadin for other roles that people have commissioned. Then you'll find that here. If you would like to commission a guide, for right now it's just $20. I can make a guide for your favorite champion. In the future, I'll probably have to raise the price a little bit, maybe to $25 or $30. I'll have to see, because the guides do take a very long time. I'm going to try to keep the coaching sessions to $20 as long as I can. If I start getting too stacked up, I might have to raise the price a little bit, like $5 or something. We'll see. I might make it to where if you're a member, you get a even more discount on it though, just to offset the price increase. But I'll keep you all apprised of that. I'll let you know if I'm going to change that in the future. So if you're watching this like a year down the line, then just always check the latest data on that for the prices and things. But for right now, I'm going to do my best to keep it at 2020. I know that's dirt cheap, but as far as coaching sessions go online, good quality coaching sessions, but I really do want to make it accessible for as many people as I can, as long as I have the time to get through all of them. So anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.